is a giant Olympic gold medalist heavyweight. I mean, Anthony Joshua is
the thing that nightmares are made of.
And he's got that one-punch nuclear power. One punch. And he's fast. It's an like, there's certain guys that, like, in kickboxing couldn't translate over to MMA because they didn't have the kind of speed. Friend, I don't think this is that. I don't think this is that at all. First of all, it can't be that because Joshua is still competitive in the heavyweight division, and he's only doing this for money. Like, he's still set up for world title fights. After he knocked out Ngannou, you could still set him at, like, Joseph Parker just lost. You could set him up with Joseph Parker. You could have, until a year ago, he could fight Deontay Wilder.
You're saying that the lineage and the trajectory that Anthony Joshua is on, if he happens to go a little bit too gentle and lose by decision.
Joe Rogan has revealed why Kristian Prenga could be heading straight into danger against Anthony Joshua, with all signs pointing toward an explosive fight night.
It's an like, there's certain guys that, like, in kickboxing couldn't translate over to MMA because they didn't have the kind of speed. Like Peter Aerts is a good example. He was a world-class kickboxer, one of the best of all time, but didn't have the style that would allow him to But then there was Mirko Cro Cop. Mirko Cro Cop, who was violently explosive, would perfectly transition to MMA because you got to be able to hit people quick. It was like a big part of it is speed. Anthony Joshua has that kind of speed.
According to Rogan, Prenga could face an even harsher outcome than Ngannou did, as Joshua's explosive speed and devastating power may prove far too much to handle.
If you don't have the skill to get away from that kind of power, what happens is Francis Ngannou and Anthony Joshua. You have to be a you can't judge that guy based on Dubois, who's a murderer. Daniel Dubois is a tank, and he took out Joshua, but that guy's terrifying. You're staring in front of that guy, but Usyk didn't stand in front of him. Usyk moved all over the place. Joshua's, and he's going to have a lot to prove. He's going to be very angry.
At the same time, Joe insists Anthony still has plenty to prove because another setback could leave many believing his career at the highest level is nearing its end.
Marketing opportunity.
Wow. So that's a really, so what we were saying before.
The Ngannou fight is a godsend to him, right? The Ngannou fight is like, hey, boxing's back. Yeah. This guy knocked down Tyson Fury. This is how it was supposed to go. Anthony Joshua, you carried the torch for the boxing community. Because I know a lot of, like, straight up boxers, and they absolutely felt that way.
Yeah.
Like, this is what needed to happen. These guys can't come over from MMA and think they can box the best.
Yeah, you need to put them in their place. It's what's great there, and it loops back to what we were talking about before, is incentives, align the incentives.
Yeah.
With recent losses weighing on his career, Joshua has plenty to prove, and Mike Tyson believes losing confidence or quitting mentally could lead to another damaging defeat.
What advice would you give to somebody like AJ?
That he has a lot of talent and not to get discouraged. He only loses when he quits. When you quit, all the doors of opportunities close. You know what I mean? You have to be game. And then don't get discouraged if you lose. Listen, you just lost. You may have got $30 million. You should give Usyk a kiss and say, can we do this again? Don't let this internalize you. Oh, I can't fight now. This white boy kicked my ass. People are laughing at me. No, he kicked my ass for $50 million or $30 million. I hope he kicks my ass again. But this time it might not work out that way. I'm gonna kick his ass. I just think the more time you lay off, the worse you get. You have to fight to be the best. You have to do it more and more and more.
Adding on, Tim Bradley calls Prenga a tough but soft target defensively, saying his weak defensive habits can be exploited and urging Joshua to pressure him aggressively.
All you gotta do is take it to him. That's it. Avoid getting hit with a big shot. You know, got a good right hand. All you gotta do is take it to him. You know, this guy right here, he's tough, but he's soft at the same time. He's tough, but he's soft at the same time. So, like, if you start to put the pressure on him, he ain't never been at that level, and you start hitting him hard, and you bag him in the corner, he gonna tuck up in that high guard, that dummy defense, and he just gonna...
Bradley's advice to Joshua is clear. Avoid getting caught by big punches, and he even predicts an easy night if Joshua stays disciplined and sharp.
He just gonna take it. That's it. Oh, he gonna try to come back, but again, you got too much experience, AJ. You got too much understanding of boxing, bro. You know, don't get reckless, because he does got pop. But just take it to him, bro, and it should be easy. Easy work.
When breaking Prenga's qualities down, he comes across as a tough, aggressive heavyweight with serious forward pressure but clear defensive gaps that can be punished at elite level, and Peter Fury believes that won't be enough as he expects Prenga to get his chin exposed early, arguing from his kickboxing background that stepping up to face a heavyweight like Joshua will be destructive, praising Joshua's knockout power and suggesting the fight could turn one-sided quickly.
He's going to pose much of a threat for AJ, to be honest.
And he's going to want to work out, though, Peter. He's not going to want to sort of knock the bloke out in the first round. I mean, he probably does want to get a few rounds under his belt, doesn't he?
I think he'll have a look at him. I think he'll get behind his boxing, he'll have a look. But unfortunately, you know, I think he'll present his chin a little bit too quick.
Right.
And somebody with AJ's power, he's got destructive power, so as soon as that shot lands, it's over.
The notion is growing stronger every day that Prenga could be in serious trouble here, with critics pointing out that the opponents he has faced so far are low-level fighters, and while he carries some punching value, few truly believe he has a real chance at this level, creating heavy anticipation for a fight many expect to resemble what Joshua did to Francis Ngannou, where speed, timing, and power completely changed the outcome from the opening exchanges.
He sounds good. And I think Prenga is in big trouble. I really do.
Yeah, Kristian Prenga, 35 years old. You know, he's fought a lot of lower level fighters. I had a long study of his record yesterday. The one thing that on AJ, first of all, I agree with you. It's fantastic to have him back. I think Prenga is in trouble. Just straight out there, I think AJ goes out there. And it looks like a Ngannou performance to me, where he'll size him up with the jab and let that booming right hand go and devastate Prenga, who obviously has a punch. But I saw when Anthony Joshua took his sunglasses off.
Boxing journalist Ade Oladipo has been closely watching Joshua's confidence at press conferences and interviews, noting that he appears in his best physical shape yet, looking lean similar to his condition against Jake Paul, and he believes the outcome could be far more dangerous than expected, while also revealing that Joshua is strictly focused, staying disciplined with his camp and avoiding distractions outside training, and according to Oladipo, he is already mentally prepared not just for this fight, but even for a potential showdown with Tyson Fury.
Looks as lean as he did for the Jake Paul fight. You know, when Jake Paul kind of dragged him down a little bit to 245 pounds, and I think Jake Paul thought that was a good idea. It was a bad idea because all of a sudden AJ looked even more destructive. And he looks around that weight already. Looks like he's in shape, like he's in camp, doesn't want to leave camp, only left camp to do this press conference. And he was very happy to speak about Tyson Fury. Normally, fighters are like, oh, let me deal with what I've got to deal with first, and then, but he's like, no, very happy. If Fury wants to come to Jeddah, where this fight will be taking place, then let's do it.
On the other hand, Prenga is standing firmly in the way of a Fury and Joshua showdown, insisting that the fight will never happen because he plans to knock Joshua out instead, making it clear that he is not coming just to compete, but to win in devastating fashion, claiming fans will not see his biggest punches coming until it is too late, and expressing confidence after waiting a long time for a moment like this, while boldly stating that he will cancel the planned super fight by finishing Joshua on July 25th with a knockout.
Knockout, brother. I'm not going for a fight, I'm going to win, always. You never see the Albanian punchers. I'm waiting for a long time for this big fight coming up, but it's a surprise.
What's your reaction to the fact that Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua has been signed? You are trying to get in the way of that fight happening, right?
It's not gonna happen, I'm gonna cancel that fight. I'm gonna win in July 25th. Knockout, brother.
Firing back with a brutal warning, Eddie Hearn insists Prenga must not live in delusion, thinking he can simply knock Joshua out, stressing that this is the worst possible time to face him, given everything he has recently gone through in his personal life, including a tragic car incident and the loss of two close friends, which Hearn believes has ignited a deeper warrior mindset, and he is confident Joshua will step into the ring focused, emotional, and determined to prove once again why he belongs at the very top by winning on fight night.
Oh, he's not the fighter he was. Oh, he's coming off an injury. Oh, mentally he's not the same guy. All this hope. But this is probably the worst time to fight Anthony Joshua right now. And we look forward to coming to Jeddah. I think that's important to note as well. All these fights in Riyadh, great to go to Jeddah for Jeddah season. And thank you to His Excellency for making the big fight happen. But that's all irrelevant until we deal with a very accomplished fighter in Prenga. But for us, You know, we are incredibly proud to see this man back in the ring. I think it's one of the great comebacks, and I think you will see the very best Anthony Joshua in Jeddah on July 25th.
Team Prenga understands the odds are stacked against them, yet they remain confident he will shock the world, with manager Keith Sullivan explaining why Joshua should be worried, saying that although Joshua is strong and powerful, Prenga has been sparring and fighting much bigger opponents and will bring real heavyweight strength into the ring, insisting his punching power will be fully displayed on fight night, revealing a plan that is not about going 12 rounds, but about landing a sharp jab early, and warning Joshua has not yet felt Prenga's true power.
KP, Kristian Prenga, understands the odds against him. He understands the doubt that's been placed on him. But he has absolutely no fear, tremendous confidence that he can win this fight. Kristian is a very heavy-handed puncher. I brought in some of the top sparring partners that we've been able to get our hands on. They have called me up and been amazed at how heavy-handed and what a hard puncher he is and how much of a beating they've been taking in sparring. So we don't need 12 rounds. We don't need 1,000 punches. We just need 1 or 2 good punches on AJ's jaw to get him uncomfortable. And we've seen it time and time again. When he gets hit in the right spot, he gets out of his comfort zone and loses control. And once we get him to that place, KP can step in and take over the fight.
According to Sullivan, the real challenge now sits on Joshua's shoulders, as he is expected to prove he still belongs at the top, even questioning whether Joshua is fully ready for a future Fury fight if he is stepping into the ring with Kristian Prenga, while insisting his own fighter is being overlooked, despite doing everything required to secure victory. And he argues that if critics are so confident Prenga is in trouble, they should also ask why Joshua chose him in the first place, if he was not seen as a serious and dangerous opponent.
Really risky fight for Anthony Joshua. And let's look at it from the other perspective. If KP is all the stuff that these naysayers say that he is, and he doesn't have a good record and he doesn't have the skill, talent, and whatever, why on earth did Anthony Joshua's team present a fighter such as KP to him? What does that say about his team and their doubt and their uncertainties and insecurities about where Anthony Joshua is right now in his career? That speaks more volumes than anything else.
But Simon Jordan does not agree with that assessment, openly admitting there are levels in this sport and Prenga is simply not on the same tier as Joshua, while also stressing that if Joshua stays composed and handles the moment properly, the victory is already written for him. Even though Prenga's heavy-handed ability is constantly highlighted in discussion, Jordan believes Joshua has already faced and overcome dangerous punchers in the heavyweight division, and therefore this challenge should not carry the same level of fear if he approaches it with discipline and control.
I suspect we will see the levels. Well, the levels will be shown in the ring, and all the talk before it will make no difference. Lots of heavyweights are heavy-handed.
Yeah.
And actually Joshua's been in with lots of heavy-handed heavyweights, and you can talk about how he reacts. We've seen him getting hit. We saw him get hit by Klitschko, and we saw what he did to Klitschko. We've seen him get hit by Dillian White, who's heavy-handed, and we saw that. Now, these are years ago, I grant you.
Sure.
But this, with due respect to Keith, this guy is not at the level that Anthony Joshua was at. If Anthony Joshua maintains some degree of level, then I expect this fight to go Anthony Joshua's way.
Dave Allen steps into the conversation and reflects on Anthony Joshua's long break from the ring, pointing out that apart from the Jake Paul bout, which he sees more as an exhibition, Joshua has been inactive for nearly 2 years, and while the circumstances around his career have not been easy, he still respects what Joshua has carried for British boxing over the past decade, making it clear he does not begrudge him this return and views the matchup as a fair but demanding test given everything that has built up to this moment.
Reasons why he's been out for a long time. I don't count the Jake Paul was like an exhibition, really. He hasn't boxed since Dubois, nearly 2 years out. You know, he's not the easiest of times, and he deserves an easy one. He carried British boxing on his back for fucking 10 years, to be fair to him. He's been amazing, so I don't begrudge him an easy one. I don't think it's a bad, I think it's a bad fight, but I certainly don't begrudge him, you know, this fight coming back with you know, the last couple of years that he's been out, and, you know, obviously a lot of, you know, stuff going off, and I certainly don't begrudge him this fight now.
He goes on to say that with everything Joshua has faced in recent years, including the car crash and other personal setbacks, this fight becomes a key moment to judge his mental readiness, especially if bigger clashes like Tyson Fury are ever going to happen, while stressing from personal experience as a former sparring partner that Joshua only enters the ring when he is fully prepared, disciplined, and operating at his absolute best, which is why Allen believes he will still show up as a complete and dangerous version of himself himself on fight night.
Begrudge him this fight now.
Yeah, because obviously with the car crash as well, you almost have to see if he's mentally prepared to be in the ring with someone like Tyson Fury. I think it's a fair fight for him.
You know, Anthony Joshua, I was a sparring partner 14 years ago. I was a sparring partner for a couple of years. He won't be in the ring unless he's 100%. That's one thing about him. He's a consummate pro. He only way he gets in the ring is if he's 100%. So that's one thing you can always say about him. He'll be at his best.
The feeling around this matchup is also that it works as a warm-up before a potential Fury clash, with the idea being to carefully manage risk while still giving Joshua a real test that prepares him for the bigger fight later in the year, as there are limited opponents available who can offer that balance, and this selection is seen as smart matchmaking designed to keep him active, sharp, and ready, especially against a tall, physical opponent who shares similarities with what he might face down the line.
That's the thing. That's the main thing here. I think it's a warm-up fight. I did want him to have a warm-up fight before the Fury fight. When you're thinking about warm-up fights, there's not many people to pick from where you can keep the risk at a certain level and make sure we get the golden fight that we want by the end of the year. So it has to be smart matchmaking. And I think this is smart matchmaking. I don't know much about Prenga.
No. I've watched some videos. He's 6'5". He's not massively dissimilar to Tyson, but that's what you would want. You would want someone in the same way that Makhmudov was handy for AJ. Yeah. He looks like he'll be handy for Josh.
Right.
At the same time, there is belief that this kind of opponent still has something to gain from the occasion, as stepping into a high-profile fight at this level could boost his profile and rebuild momentum regardless of the result, with the platform itself offering major exposure and future opportunities, meaning even after a tough night he could bounce back and continue building his career, while the matchup ultimately serves both fighters in different ways, one preparing for a bigger future and the other chasing a breakthrough moment.
Right, and that's what I think we need, something competitive, something to prepare us for the fight later in the year. And Prenga can bounce back. Everything that you said about his marketability, Albanian following, he can still activate it. It might even be easier after this, because he's fighting AJ, you know what I mean? So it's putting him on that platform, and I'm pretty sure he could build after that.
Adding to the discussion, Carl Frampton pushes back on the idea of calling this simply a warm-up fight, saying it can sometimes sound too comfortable, as if the outcome is already decided, while still agreeing that Joshua needs a bout before stepping into a possible Fury showdown because of everything he has recently been through, including the car crash and personal challenges. And although he admits he does not know much about the opponent yet and would need to study his style, he also warns that boxing is unpredictable, where either fighter could make a decisive impact in a single exchange.
Isn't it? I don't even like the term warm-up fight, because it's almost like it's like, you know, I'm gonna go and sort this guy out and then we'll move on to the next one. I think it's right that AJ does have a fight before he fights Fury, just because of everything that's went on with the car crash and everything else that he's had to deal with. And but I, to be honest, I know zero about this opponent, so I'll need to do a little bit of research to see what he's like first. But I just don't like that term, warm-up fight, but that's what they're calling it, isn't it? And there's always a chance he could slip up. There's always a chance AK could break his hand off this guy's head and put him out for a while, so you never know what's going to happen.
This is a fight tied for Joshua's dream matchup with Tyson Fury, and Tony Bellew draws a comparison between both fighters coming into this moment from similar situations, with each of them dealing with recent defeats and major career setbacks, as Fury has already returned to action after losses to Usyk, while Joshua is rebuilding after his own heavy defeat. Bellew notes that time away from the ring, including changes in training setup and personal challenges that have left questions about his current physical and mental state, and now he is stepping back into competition against an opponent who is still largely unknown at elite level.
I think they're both in a similar predicament, to be honest. I mean, the fight before the last ones they're going to have, they're both coming off defeats. Tyson Fury's been defeated twice by Alexander Usyk, but he's just come back against Arslanbek Makhmudov. Now we've got Anthony Joshua, who was, you know, coming back from a horrific defeat to Daniel Dubois, but took time away, changed his training team again. looked to be in a good place. Then the unimaginable, the unthinkable happened, you know, with him and his friends. And we don't know where Anthony Joshua's at the minute. We don't know where he's at physically. We don't know where he's at mentally. And we're going to see him in a boxing ring pretty soon. I think it's July. He's going to be in, and it's against an unknown quantity.
The Albanian Kristian Prenga, who hasn't got a huge resume.
He goes on to explain that this upcoming fight is unlikely to fully answer where Joshua truly stands, especially because the opponent has limited exposure at the highest level, making it more of a restart than a defining test, although it still represents a valuable opportunity for Joshua to complete a full training camp with his new team and apply that work inside the ring, which in his view is the most important part of this stage of his career as he rebuilds momentum and sharpness.
By any means, but you know, still
he's unknown. He's got 20 wins from 21 fights, I believe so. And although we won't have seen much of him and don't know him at all, it's the lottery for this guy. You know, this is the world title fight times 10. This is the chance to, you know, open yourself up to the market. So, like I said before, we don't know where Anthony Joshua's at.
No.
And do I think this fight's going to tell us much about Anthony Joshua? No. I'm just going to be totally honest. But ultimately, it'll be good for him to get back in the ring, go to a training camp with his new team. I think that's the most important thing about this fight for Anthony Joshua. Going through a full training camp with this team and putting it into practice. I think without a shadow of a doubt, that's the most important.
As opinions clash and predictions heat up, all eyes now turn to fight night, where every question will finally be answered inside the ring. So make sure you stay locked in for the full breakdown, drop your prediction in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep fight analysis and updates as the biggest heavyweight stories continue to unfold.